Hi again then guys, and this is it, the final episode of Tour of Japan. Now, did any of you guys guess what this car was going to be? I suspect some of you probably did, and if you did, thanks for not putting it in the comments and spoiling it for others, because it is a pretty cool surprise to have if you're not expecting it. This may seem to be a very odd car to be ending a Japanese Super GT, GT500 and GT300 review series with, because A, it's not Japanese, B, it's called a GT1 car, not a GT500, and what is going on here? This is the Lamborghini Nomad Diablo GT1. What on earth is this doing at the end of this series? Well, for the very simple reason that not only Japanese cars are allowed into the Super GT. Over the years, there have been cars from other countries. There was a Mercedes GT500 car, or it may have been a GT300, sponsored by HKS. There's been a McLaren F1 Super GT car, and various others, including even the Dodge Viper. And this Diablo even ran in the GT500 class in the JGTC. So technically, it is a JGTC or JPGT or Super GT model. This is, as far as I'm aware, the only non-Japanese racing car in the game that they will actually allow you to use in JGTC seasonal events, which is a pretty cool little fact to know. However, the biggest downside to this car is, of course, if you bring it out in a Super GT lobby, you probably will have a very negative result. And I have. I pulled this out in a lobby of people who are racing GT500 cars, and they forced me to change it. That's stupid. Their uneducated ways mean that I have to forfeit a superior car. I don't agree with that. But I also don't race with people like that anymore, because they're time wasters who don't really think enough into what cars should and shouldn't be allowed. But with that little rant out of the way, we have come to the end of a massive series in terms of spec and in terms of money. Over 36 million credits worth of cars have been reviewed in this series. Well over 40 million credits if you include all the tuning that I've done to find out what their limits are. So, why have I saved this one till last? Well, for one thing, for the surprise. It's a great way to end the series, completely unexpected for most people, but also for a very significant other reason. This car in many ways is by far the most superior GT500 model in the game. Its power, its engine capacity, its horsepower per tonne, and its PP are significantly higher than any other JGTC model. Not only that, its acceleration and top speed are completely unrivaled. None of the other Super GT cars of either classes, 300 or 500, come anywhere near the straight line performance of this Diablo. The top speed with low aero is around 260 miles per hour. It's got a 6-litre V12 engine which can produce 1,146 horsepower. Surprisingly though, not the most torque. In fact, quite far off being the most torque. Still a lot though, at 869 pound-feet. It produces 955 horsepower per tonne. It sits at the highest PP in this series at 676. And for all that, it costs the same as a non-premium Super GT Skyline or Supra. 750,000 credits for what is a completely unbeatable straight line Super GT machine. Unbeatable, of course, within this class. Now, to be completely honest, it's not without its downsides. Every car has its downsides, and so does this. Its two primary downsides are its cornering and its weight. It is the heaviest Super GT car in the game at 1,200 kilos, which isn't too much heavier than some of the others, but is still notable. And the handling. Now, the handling is not bad, but when you've got over 1,100 horsepower going through the rear wheels, it's not going to be a beginner-friendly car, especially being a Lamborghini Diablo to start with. So I would not recommend this car for beginners. It likes to spin up its tyres, and also, funnily enough, for technical tracks, it's just not the best of Super GT cars anyway. The handling isn't quite sharp enough for ultra twisty tracks. Select it on the right circuit though, say Spa, the Le Mans, Mategi, tracks like that, and this car will absolutely dominate, especially tracks that require top end and to some extent mid-range acceleration. So the value for money on this car is insane at 750,000 credits. And overall, if you're looking for a Super GT machine which can absolutely blow away the competition in a straight line, but needs to be used selectively, especially in certain lobbies with certain people, then the Diablo is the best choice for you if you are looking for a car like that. Now, we've come to the end of the series, of course, so what's coming next? Well, next Monday, or next Wednesday even, I should say, we'll be starting the next major review series, which is a similar size to this one, and we're going to be reviewing GT class race cars. So similar to this series, but it's going to be from any GT class. So Nuremberg ring race cars, GT1 cars, GT3 cars, GT2 cars, Le Mans GT cars, etc. So be sure to check that out on Wednesday, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.